Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Rob.
Hey guys, afternoon. So Cliff is on PTO today, so I know we're not going to have him. Does anybody know about maybe Madhu or John Stewie?
I haven't heard from Madhu. Let me check the.
Yeah, just go into my calendar and look too.
Yeah. No response from John Stewie or Madhu on the calendar invite.
Okay. Well, we should probably just crack on then.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Do you want to take us away, Rob, or I have a few things that I can bring up, but I don't have an established.
Actually, the only thing on my agenda, I mean, we could do a little bit of recap on the workshops. If you have some things on your agenda, the one other thing we should do is if John and Greg haven't met Russ first, we should probably do an introduction for Russ.
Yep.
Have not met Russ.
So Russ just joined the foundation team, and Russ, sorry to put you on the spot, but if you don't mind, Greg and John are both steering committee members, longtime OCP supporters, and so yeah, take it away if you don't mind.
Well, I think Mr. Leong might know me a bit. So Russ Wunderlich, Intel 27 plus years on the Xeon processor platform side. New to OCP, excited to be here. Totally different. Really looking forward to digging in, actually, and learning what I need to do too.
Russ is going to be supporting James and Cliff quite a bit on the technical side, but he'll also be connected to our contribution process on the technical side as well as time goes on.
Yep.
Very cool.
So as part of
Hi, Russ. I didn't
the
want to be
technical side
silent.
and covering projects, he'll certainly cover this strategic initiative.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Do you want to, John and Greg, you
No, I
guys
just
want
wanted to say hi to Russ. I didn't want to be totally silent in this. We have
Hey,
a long
John.
history.
I
Nice.
expected that from the beginning when you said, "What the hell's Russ doing here?" So
Nice.
Well, that
So,
OCP in parenthetical gave me a hint.
to?
cool. Well, since you know John, my name is Greg Selman. I've been at AMD now for a little more than 3 years, but server project steering committee lead. And prior to that, I spent 20-ish odd years at Lenovo and IBM doing data center platform development.
Okay.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Your name is familiar, so but I can't picture a face or anything, so I didn't want to make any assumptions. If you're
No,
Lenovo,
that's fair.
we may have run into each other.
Maybe so. plenty of work with the Intel team over the years, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, then with that, James, if you have a couple items you want to cover, please take it away.
Sure, I was just going to say, I don't know if Russ and John know that John serves on our steering committee as well, representing the hardware management project. But yeah, anyways, great to
Yeah.
have everyone together. So Russ, this is a check-in with the what we call like work area leads loosely for the Open Systems for AI strategic initiative. And the gentleman that we mentioned, Madhu Iyengar from Google, is not here. He sort of represents the area for data center physical infrastructure. And uh, John on the hardware management side, as you can imagine, represents the work area for the AI SI on systems management. And then we got Greg that covers the data center IT infrastructure. And he also had a partner in crime, John Stewie, that recently moved to a cooling startup. So I think we're trying to get that startup as a member and allow John to continue some of his leadership roles in the community that way.
I didn't
In
know
any
John
case,
moved.
the workshop was a great success. We had the fifth of what I think will be maybe up to 10 virtual AI technical workshops organized under the banner of this Open Systems for AI umbrella. I say 10 because I'm sort of counting 3 if we do that, John, for systems management. I don't know. It's really up to you, and we can figure out however many. But it looks like we'll have 4 for the IT infrastructure topics, and we had 3 for the physical infrastructure. But these are like 3-hour workshops. Russ was on it yesterday, so I know that he knows what it is. And we had a
Now,
good
I would say,
100 people.
given that that IT infrastructure is covering manageability already, I
Mhm.
don't know if there's a need for a system management one, because that's why I dialed in yesterday, was because you guys were talking about OpenOMC and system management. So
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of that covered. Well, let me circle back to systems management because there was a talk with the advisory board yesterday um, on potentially doing more stuff there. Anyways, so the workshop yesterday, I was just going to say, is basically a good success. The recording is posted now. I wanted to show you guys our AI events page as well because you're obviously familiar with our Open Systems for AI page that kind of looks like a project page. Let me just share my window. Size is this better? So this is the Open Systems for AI page here. And I've put a few key resources at the top now. Otherwise, I think you've seen this. And I linked into the Open Cluster Designs for AI stuff with a little blurb here. We have the workshops listed. So yesterday's was this one. The next one, the registration is open, but we're working with mostly Ravindra and Barak from Meta and NVIDIA, who are the project leads for networking here. But Greg, I mean, this sort of falls under your banner too. So if you like to have input on the agenda or want to invite particular speakers, they started doing that this week. They were going to start
Okay.
doing it last week, and it didn't really get around to doing it until this week. So we're still forming the agenda for this. If you go to the webpage, there's no agenda yet.
Right. Okay.
But it's open for registration, and planning on holding it with basically the same, about 3-hour time slot. They're targeting, 10 speakers.
Right. Okay. I may reach out to Jay Metz of UEC, Ultra Ethernet, and see if he's interested in giving a
Yeah,
discussion here. That this is where we mentioned Jay and maybe Curtis from a UAL perspective.
absolutely. And I actually proactively reached out to them
Oh, okay. Okay.
and
Cool.
basically forwarded Ravindra's call for submissions, if you could call it that, for the
Okay.
workshop. And Jay replied right away saying he's definitely in.
Okay. Perfect.
And Curtis hasn't replied back yet, but I told them that hopefully this is a light lift. They can
Yeah.
repurpose the APAC Summit / Global Summit materials, but that this is a good place to create
Yeah.
a little bit of discussion as well, if
Yep.
they want to.
Yeah, I mentioned this to them a while back before we decided it was going to be split into multiple workshops. So yeah, I know Jay was definitely interested, and we can push on Curtis a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So that's there. And what I wanted to show you is that we're increasingly using this AI marketplace page as a hub for all resources in terms of OCP, artificial intelligence resources. So the marketplace team, Steve and Eva, have kind of worked with us to update some key links here at the bottom. We've got the Open Systems for AI strategic initiative stuff here. And we used to link to like the Global Summit AI track here, but there's a lot more things. And by the way, below this is just all of the AI product listings. This now goes to a new page that curates all of the AI event stuff, sort of past, present, and future. There's the present stuff that is the calendars for what I think are the three main AI-centric projects and two strategic initiatives. And then upcoming events and past events. So we've got the workshops listed here. We've got like the APAC Summits AI breakout track and FTS track, and then I think I can now probably add links actually here where it says coming soon. And then the past OCP AI events, I just have like, we had these on the previous page. Now we moved them here, and some 2024 stuff and some 2025 stuff that's already gone by. So people can easily find recordings since
So is
it's easily
the
popular.
OCP marketplace going beyond just product at this point? Because marketplace had always been associated with product. And now you have product and white papers and initiatives in underneath
Yeah.
marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, like the products tab here is definitely purely product centric, and there's just a little bit of stuff at the top explaining what type of products it is.
I understand
But
that. Right.
but
I've always understood but the marketplace used to be focused purely on product. That's where you
yeah,
went. Right. And what I'm hearing is that marketplace is now all things OCP. And you can find product tab inside marketplace, but it's only one portion of marketplace at this point.
yeah. So the page is still the same format as the traditional marketplace page. It's primarily products. We've just used the space above this fold here of the search bar to add more resources.
But those
Uh,
okay, that's
that's
fine. You that's fine. The UCP marketplace was just product, and all you've done if you stubbed a shim on top of it to shove all this
yeah,
additional information, which is why it says marketplace artificial intelligence. So that's fine. If that's what you've done, I
yeah.
just want to say is that people looking, I used to send all people who were interested in product to marketplace and they could find it quickly. And now you're saying, no, you have to go to the subcategory and then find products again to actually get to a product. But, okay.
Yeah. So we sort of done the same thing with chiplets just to show you a different
Oh,
example.
no, I know you've done that. It's not like you've done anything different. It's that
Yeah.
marketplace used to just point to product. And then you took marketplace and split it into all these categories, right? Which is fine. And now each category now has additional
Yep.
stuff, collateral stuff underneath it. So you've pushed product down a layer and put all this stuff on top of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
It
okay,
This was sort of the main tab that everybody associated with the marketplace previously, and now you have these other things and AI there as well.
right,
Yep. So
okay.
yeah, that's why I'm showing it to you guys. And I mean, one of the things that we continue to try to encourage members to do, and particularly like the platinum members, where they're automatically solution providers, they can list their stuff here freely with that tier of membership, is to get them to put their products here, because we realize that there's many companies that have, you know, servers, cooling products, NICs, etc., various equipment that are effectively following an OCP spec and just not being branded with the OCP recognition or listed here. So hopefully they become increasingly meaningful hubs for the products, and in this case, a few other resources. But yeah, the AI events page is brand new. We created it like a week ago, just to try to collect everything because we couldn't possibly try to link to all the different relevant events without building a new page. So I wanted to show you guys that. I wanted to talk about the workshop, and we have the community meeting coming up in a couple of weeks. I will miss it because I'm going to be at the OCP Korea Day with Michael, and Cliff is going to miss it because he's on PTO, but I'm just going to bring back the agenda up what's on the agenda, Rob?
You guys will have to suffer through it because I'll be the only one from the OCP team around. But yeah, let me pull up the agenda.
Well, Ross will probably be there.
Well, that's true. Russ, I got to get used to having Russ around, which is a good thing. For the August 13th meeting, the digital twin strategic initiative launch and a presentation um, from a group. And then we're waiting to hear back, but I think it's likely that Mount Diablo, the group associated with Mount Diablo, will also provide an update presentation on the sidecar itself. Yesterday, they talked a little bit more about connectivity, but it's been a little while since we've heard from them about the zero point 0.5 spec that's been shared.
Yeah. I don't think did they ever present it to the AISI monthly community meeting?
I can't recall. I don't remember if I just scheduled them or if they actually presented. I have seen it presented. I just can't recall which meeting it was in.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I know we have some coverage in the workshops and other places. Okay. Anyways, as one of the mainstream contributions, I think it's an interesting update. And hopefully the Google Deschutes contribution is supposed to come in before Global Summit. And the Scale Up Ethernet contribution is like very close. There were some additional things that people on the steering committee, I think, asked Broadcom to address. But assuming that they're going to address those fairly soon, you should be in the next week or two, I think, maybe longer. But does that sound right, Rob?
Yeah, the author that's responsible for the content is on PTO at the moment. So as soon as they return, they'll address the comments.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Other than that, and whatnot, we can maybe just circle back to the workshops and what we should do with respect to systems management, if anything. So we were talking to the folks at the advisory board, and then we have a quarterly board of directors meeting as well, where I was there giving an AISA update. And I mean, a lot of people are kind of commenting that the traditional deployment unit of the server and the success of the server, open source spec, and then the rack open source spec at OCP, the IT equipment side of AI clusters and infrastructure is moving so fast right now that there's a lot of contributions and stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a standard per se where people coalesce around it and sort of stick to it. It's just going to keep on iterating for a while. And so we were trying to think of like, okay, what other low-hanging fruit exists to help drive open source specs for. And the folks at NVIDIA and Ampere that were on the AB call, advisory board call, said, a lot of like redfish profiles and hardware management type of stuff may be good areas that are areas that we could focus on for potential specifications that may not need to change as quickly. So I'd like to get your thought on that, John. And they also said on the other side, the facilities stuff could be interesting to potentially look at that, and power and cooling oriented stuff, and having the hyperscalers come together around OCP ready for AI is already something that is happening, although it seems to be going kind of slow. They were going to meet at the OCP Global Summit, and there's more and more people interested in that because lots of neoclouds are setting up their facilities and colos are building new facilities. It seems like every other day you hear about like a new data center facility that's going to get set up on some used to be farmland or something. I don't know, and all the power plants associated with it. But obviously the requirements for those are vastly different. And then there's things like Diablo that are useful as a sidecar that can also be kind of retrofitted into existing data centers. So anyways, we don't need to focus so much on the physical side right now, because I think that we should probably have Madhu to have that conversation. But it'd be interesting to get your opinion on that, John, and if that makes any interesting fodder for discussion in something like a workshop.
Yeah, we could have that discussion. That's why, I've been interested in the new initiative for open cluster design for AI, because that actually gives you something tangible to begin to manage. And I've been pitching to Open RMC exactly how it can go manage both the um, physical side and the IT side of a platform. So if you look at the last slide of that open clusters for AI design for AI presentation, it actually begins to list out all the profiles which have existed that they're trying to bring together. So um, and that's why in the white paper, the discussion is fairly general and talks about the directional. The open cluster designs for AI gives you a a point in time of what a physical system might look like and how you might manage it, both the cooling side and the compute side. And so, um, yeah, so we can have a discussion. It's basically the same discussion I've had with OpenIMC is that um, if if the system is trying to manage both of them, then yes, you have to have a high level management system to do that. Because without that, then the DMTF and OCP is just a um, a definition of an interface to go manage something, right? And so without a something, it's hard to have a further discussion about how the profiles can be applied. That said, I will say, uh, uh, as far as the redfish portion of what hardware management is doing, uh, neither NVIDIA nor um, uh, the other company that you mentioned, right, have attended. So we don't know what their interest is. So Russ, in retrospect of the white paper was supposed to signify those areas that had to be filled for a complete system for AI to be defined. With the premise that once we have written that white paper, we have identified where the gaps are, that the cavalry would come with resources to help us plug those gaps. And since the white paper has come out, very few companies have come and said, okay, well let's go start a work stream and go work on particular aspects of it. So my view of the steering committee is fine. You can go point all you want until you send people. I continue to treat Hardware Management Project as an open source organization. Those who come in and have an enthusiasm for something, we give them a charter to go do. So they
Yeah.
can identify all this they want. If no one comes and does the work, it's going to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, so certainly Rob Ober at NVIDIA, who's one of their, I think he's like chief architect or something. Um, we could ask him to loop in other folks if it's folks at NVIDIA that you think would be useful to perhaps bring to the
If if
discussion.
if 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 the presentation gets to a point where I show them where the profiles are and how it's all being done in OpenRMC, and they show up, then I'm happy, right? Unless they can say, no, you're not quite that work stream doesn't quite do the work we want to do. We want to do this other thing. It's like, fine, come submit a charter for a work stream. We'll give you the work to do. Until someone shows up at the door, um, um, you know, I have no resources to apply to this thing, so it goes where the community decides it needs to go.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen cases where though there are major players, like for example, ARM, that are less involved than they ought to be in like the chiplet open chiplet economy project. So we went and talked to some folks at ARM that are, for example, on our advisory board, and they got a bunch of people involved, and seems like it's actually getting traction now with ARM. So I don't know, maybe we can try to do the same thing with NVIDIA or others to try to bring them in to have those conversations.
You can't have those conversations. What I have found is that people will pay for IT equipment. They will pay for physical equipment to go support their data center. Very few people, quote, pay for manageability. So they have resources off doing that. And if they can see a path to money based on the work that they've done, they're right on top of it, right? You talk to them about system management, it's kind of like, unless it's attached to a product they're going to ship, they're not particularly interested.
Yeah.
So I can have that conversation with them. Um, I just know I've had this conversation many times before.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I think NVIDIA and other vendors must realize the importance of it, given the fact that there's plenty of people working on it, in spite of
Oh yeah,
it
no, and
perhaps not having a.
that's why you have two closed work streams, right? The
Yeah.
CPU management work stream, right, where the big five and the video work, and the hyperscale CPU work stream, another closed one where a bunch of them are working. So that's where they're applying to people. And even when we created the DC diag and debug, they were saying, we don't know what that is, John. We can't send people to it unless we can justify to our management why we want to send people to this work stream. So yes, they're busy, but they're very busy on supporting the products that they want to go launch.
Mhm.
And they have a profile, right? So they're using all the material for Redfish. They're just using it in service to the products that they want to go ship.
Sure. Well, it makes sense. But if there's an intersection there with OCP, hopefully we can bring them into the conversation.
No, there is an intersection. That's why these work streams are in hardware management. Right, that is the intersection, is that they're perfectly willing to do it within the hardware management project, but they're going to do it as a closed work stream, which means there's little community involvement because it's closed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I say if it's product focused, they're all on top of it. They can get product out, because if they don't have manageability on it, then the product has a barrier to entry into the industry, because they can't connect it up to their management framework.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the answer is to that. That itself could be an interesting presentation topic
Yeah,
to try
I would.
to stir the pot. But
Well, that's why I was going to use the open cluster design for IA as kind of a forcing function, saying, hey, someone designs a piece of hardware. This is how you go manage it.
yeah.
Hey, John, I'm still catching up. If you wouldn't mind sparing some time, I'd love to talk with you a little bit more about this.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I was gonna give you an invitation, because I've got a lot of information to
I took a few
convey.
notes. I got to go do a little bit of research, but
Okay. You've heard about Open System for AI?
yeah.
No, Open Cluster Design
Yeah.
for
In
AI.
fact, one of the presentations in the webinar went into some of that, and it made me very curious. I'd started taking some notes from that, and it kind of touches on what you were talking about, because I'm not seeing the big picture, which is what you're trying to allude to. So
Right. Okay.
I've got to go, guys, and we're at the bottom of the hour anyhow. I just wanted to give one more quick update that the training that we're putting together based on the white paper is moving forward. Madhu said he may have time to comment on the Google Doc script, and he didn't yet. I just finished going through the script for my edits for the IT infrastructure part, and the next part for systems management is drafted and put on my desk by the instructional designer. So again, if you guys want to review that while it's in Google Doc phase, the offer stands. Otherwise, I can share it once it's in the e-learning format, which you can still comment on. But it would be good if at some point you guys would put an eye on it. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'll be in touch with you guys on email as that sort of progresses into the e-learning format, which probably in the next week or two. Okay, that was my last update. I gotta go to another meeting, so
All right,
I'll
thanks, James.
drop.
Okay. Bye,
Thanks.
guys.